Live from Nipso Production Studios in the heart of America, it's Saturday Night Review, a podcast dedicated to the television show Saturday Night Live. With your hosts, Joseph and Denis. And here's Denis.
Yes, and welcome everyone to the 21st episode of Saturday Night Review. He is Joseph.
And he is Denis.
That's what they call me, and this is a YouTube podcast devoted to one of our favorite shows of all time, and I refer to, of course, Saturday Night Live. And we do loving talking about a show about Saturday Night Live, don't we, Joseph?
Oh, I love it. Love it.
How much do you love it, Joseph?
I love it so much that I want to lay it down,
Ooh.
treat it real nice, take my hand, not do anything serious per se, but, just let her know that I'm in it for the long haul,
I want to buy it dinner and bore it to death. Anyway, this is a show devoted to Saturday Night Live, and we just had a wonderful show last Saturday night, hosted by Adam Sandler. But before we do that, Joseph, would you like to tell the kind listener how this show does go?
Well, we only service the ladies here, Dennis.
Oh.
But tonight we have something for the ladies and the gents, to be fair. So first off, we start talking about Mr. Adam Sandler and his hosting capabilities. And then we go into Weekend Update. And then we talk about our top 3 favorite sketches or the most tolerable sketches. And then we talk about next week's host. And then we all wrap it up with a nice, pretty little bow. You and I say goodbye to each other. And then we probably fight on the way out.
And we usually do. We're fighting more recently because, unfortunately, our producer and engineer woman, or person, I guess, Linda, has been she's been in rehab the last few episodes, and she's still there.
It's chaos, Dennis.
Yeah,
it's chaos.
Yeah. But I do have some wonderful news. She is going to be coming out of rehab maybe next week for next week's show.
And we are excited, yes.
Yes, we're very excited. I've got her a gift. We'll talk about that later. But I do have a gift for her when she gets out of rehab that I'll share with you, Joseph, when we're off later in between breaks. But
Ooh.
Yes, but Linda's coming back. But before Linda comes back, we do have coming up where I talk about Adam Sandler, how he was as a host. And before we do any of that, Adam Sandler's been around for a long time. He was 24 years ago when he last hosted Saturday Night Live. And when you have a guy like this, you have some treasured memories. So there's a little section of Saturday Night Live review. Saturday Night Review I like to call Adam Sandler Memories. Man. All right, enough of that. Okay, yeah, Adam Sandler already could afford that. Okay, Adam Sandler Memories. And the memory I want to share is when, back in my college days, which was back when we rode dinosaurs to school, and history book was a pamphlet. But anyway, Adam Sandler was in concert at lovely Indiana State. Go Sycamores. Now some of you are going, oh, great. Thanks for saying that out loud. Yeah. Yeah, yours too, isn't it? That's right. I forgot.
Yes.
And so Adam did a concert there, and I went and saw it, and it was quite memorable because the thing about the concert was he did a lot of songs. He did some shtick in between, and during one of the songs, someone threw a massive bag of pot right in front of the bass player. Just boom. And it was like, no doubt what it was, right? I mean, he just a huge, 4-pound bag, I felt like, bang, right in front of the bass player. And so the bass player, being a wise man, took 2 steps back and didn't touch it. And Adam looked at it and laughed, and he pointed at the audience and he said, you know what the funniest part about this is? You're going to jail. So that was pretty awesome of Adam to kind of speak that up. And then there's a place down there called the Ballyhoo, which is a bar. Ballyhoo. And he did that a lot during his show. He'd go Ballyhoo, and the crowd would go nuts, And someone once screamed out, "The Bally's a gay bar." And he looked at her, he goes, "Oh, well, I'll see you there then." So I thought that was pretty good too. So that has been my memories of Adam Sandler's concert. The concert was really good. He did a lot of music. At the time, he was going around doing like concerts, musical concerts, actually more musical than shtick. And I guess he's gone back to doing that because he's got his rap about having his wallet, his keys, and his wallet, keys, and phone
Yes.
wallet, keys, his phone wallet, keys. Yes. So he's gone back to doing that a little bit, which is a lot of fun. So if you see Adam in concert somewhere near you, go see it. It is a good time. He does obviously a lot of cover tunes, and just has a lot of fun with the audience. So it's a good time for everybody involved.
It sounds like you knew those. I mean, the way you told those stories, it's almost as if like you were just alluding the whole first person aspect of it. Like they were so intimate and so detailed.
Yeah, where weren't they?
I'm half inclined to believe
it's like you were there.
Well, I was there, but that you were the one that threw the bag on the stage, and you were the one that made the comment about the belly
I want to say that. I will say this: I did work on campus, and the next morning, the people that did catering for such events when someone famous came into town told me the story about Adam Sandler insisted on finding fat-free ketchup. You got to find fat-free ketchup for Adam Sandler, so they went all through the city of Terre Haute, Indiana, which would take about 5 minutes, looking for fat-free ketchup. If you ever look on the back of a ketchup bottle, 0% fat. So any ketchup bottle would have worked, but they were looking for fat-free ketchup, and there's no such thing.
No, Adam.
He's such a kidder. But so thank you, Adam, for that sweet memory. And we'll take a break here. We'll come back. We'll talk about how he was as a host in last Saturday and what kind of memorable experience we had from that show. And we'll do that right after this break. Hey, Joseph.
Yeah, what's going on?
So Linda,
yeah.
right? Linda's coming. So I got this stuff for her. She wanted this oregano from this guy named Joe, not Joseph, Joe. And,
right.
You see this? See this big bag right here? Check it out.
Can I see that?
Yeah, you want to try some? I put some on my pizza the other night. It was really good.
That is really pungent oregano.
It's like the best oregano I've ever had in my life, and it's amazing. Like the pizza, oh my god, I could hear colors. It was awesome.
That's interesting, man. I'm telling you, that's just kind of stinging my nostrils a bit.
Well, that's what she wanted, and I mean, she's
it's
our
not a
girl.
bad smell. I mean, I like it. But
well, she's our girl, right? So I got to get her what she wanted, like a lot of it too. It's really expensive stuff. So I didn't use a lot of oregano in it. She said something about brownies too. Like it's good in brownies. Which I've never put oregano in brownies.
Yeah. No, I wonder if I could just put a little bit on my sandwich over here.
Well, here, yeah, give it a shot. See what you think. Huh?
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, I know,
that's
right?
Good. Yeah.
It's awesome. So I got that for her. I think it's gonna be a perfect gift for her coming back from rehab.
Whoa.
You are watching and listening to Saturday Night Review on the Nipso Productions YouTube channel.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell. Thank you, Bruce.
I'm not saying they're not a good band. I'm just saying the Grateful Dead is like okay, all right? Like they're not the best band in the world, Joseph. Don't get excited.
Are you kidding me? I mean, normally I don't like them, but God, they sound delicious right now.
I don't know what's gotten into you. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm very, very anti-depressed.
My God, half a bag of Cheetos is gone already? What are you doing over there?
Oh, my fingers.
Give me that. What's wrong with your bag of Cheetos? Jeez. Save some for the rest of us, dude. My God.
There's enough cheese on my hands I can actually eat my fingers if I wanted to.
Well, listen, while you're eating your fingers, I'm going to introduce the next section, all right?
Go for it.
All right. Well, we are going to talk about the Saturday Night Live from last Saturday night, hosted by the great Adam Sandler. It's been 24 years since he was on that stage. Joseph, what did you think of Adam Sandler, the SNL host, for the first time?
Is a sound I make with my mouth. Now, that being said, on to business, Dennis.
Yes.
So I honestly don't remember him. I don't know what year. You probably know the year that he hosted the first time. I'm sure it was
He didn't
around.
host this the first time.
Oh, this is the first time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, no, you said yeah. I was gonna say I didn't think he had hosted before. He's just
No,
been,
first time in 24 years he's been there. I mean,
gotcha,
right?
gotcha, yeah.
He actually, I don't know if you know this, he was on the show before.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Yeah, no. I just saw him in a movie called 51st Dates, and I thought that was weird that he was promoting a movie that was done 12 years ago or something. It's like, wow, that's staying power,
That is.
In all sincerity, so here's the thing: if I can say this without messing up or disrupting the emotions of the 5 listeners who are tuning in right now, I'm a little conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did pretty well as a host, and I liked having him there just because there was such a warm feeling of nostalgia, and I felt that this is what SNL fans, I don't know if they'd been waiting for it, but I think we kind of I wanted to see Adam come back and do this, especially after such a long time. That being said, it was kind of what I expected. It was Adam Sandler, 1994, 1995. It was kind of the same shtick. But I also say this, I wasn't terribly upset by it. It wasn't my favorite episode, but I did enjoy having Adam Sandler, come back and assume his rightful place among the hosts of SNL finally.
It's hard with this one because we always are hard on the host because we want the host to be like a cast member. We want them to be contributing into the skits, and we want them to be, this above and beyond saving skits with their accents and their acting and he's not going to be that kind of person.
No,
he's not going to be.
No.
But what he was, like you said, what was so weird is we always judge our host that way, and yet, like you said, just the whole vibe of this show with him there, was just a different vibe than we've had on this show in a long time. Just a real sentimental vibe the whole show.
Yes, totally.
And so for that, I loved his monologue, singing "I Was Fired."
Yes,
was amazing. And then Chris Rock came on just for that part, and that was it.
Yes.
He brought Kristen Wiig with him. Can't be bad for that. Yep. Brought Jimmy Fallon with him. Can't be bad for that. Just the whole, it felt like a reunion. It just felt like we'll get to the sketches later, but I felt like the sketches were better. There was more electricity in the air. They wanted to do Papa Sandler proud, and they did, is what I felt basically overall.
And they really did. You're absolutely right. I almost felt, you said it perfectly. It was almost like, you mentioned the word sentimental. That combined with homage, it was like an homage to Sandler, and just, it was him coming back to the fold, coming back to the family, and just having fun. And knowing that vibe, I honestly, again, I wasn't, I didn't think these were the best sketches of all season, but I enjoyed watching him have fun and watching the cast have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did enjoy that.
I did too. So as far as a regular host, we can't really put him in that same area.
Right.
But as far as just what he meant to the show, maybe meant more to the show than a regular host. So sounds good. I think that's good. Let's take a break here. We'll come back and talk about Weekend Update. Remind you are listening to Saturday Night Review. We are not a pill. We are also not a butt plug. But we will be right back.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, man. I honestly feel that I am starting to agree with my mother. I am more like my grandfather each and every day now. I feel, it's just weird that I feel that way. And I feel
in what way?
Well, I don't know. I mean, am I wrong in saying that we're all connected, I guess, in some way, shape, or form?
Oh my God.
To our Native American ancestors? I don't know.
Oh my God. Here he goes.
I don't think that's too far-fetched to think that.
How much of that oregano did you put on your sandwich?
Well, I don't know. They were in little blossoms, so I don't know, about the size of 3 little potato chips, maybe.
Oh my God, dude! You know how much that stuff cost?
Was it an expensive gift? I feel bad now.
Wasn't cheap. Thanks a lot, man. Well, there's still some left, I guess. No more pizzas for me this week. I'm saving the rest for Linda. I'm sure she'll be thankful for what she gets.
Oh, Linda, I'm sorry I ruined your future pizzas. I want to eat those future pizzas.
She said she'd bring us some brownies, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that sounds really good right now.
I know, it does, doesn't it?
You are watching and listening to Saturday Night Review on the Nipso Productions YouTube channel.
Well, isn't that special?
And we're back from the future. To our viewers out there listening to the SNL review, thank you so much for listening to us. We want to know what you think. So if you would like to comment, you can comment below the video, or you can email us directly at nipsoproductions@gmail.com, and you can spread the message of love, peace, hope, unity, and all that cool other jazz.
Oregano.
Oregano. And delicious oregano. Denis, we're here to talk about Weekend Update that took place last weekend on a weekend show called Saturday Night Live. What did you think of Weekend Update? Our boys Colin and Michael Shea.
I thought they did a great job. I thought there were a lot of good jokes, a lot of mumbling under their breath, which I like to see.
Yes.
Which I enjoy. Kate McKinnon as Elizabeth Warren is starting to become a regular.
Oh, yes.
And she's doing very, of course, I'm not surprised. My crush, Kate McKinnon as Elizabeth Warren. A lot of good stuff on here. There was a Danish joke that was really funny. But what topped it all off to me was, of course, how can we talk about Weekend Update without the return of Opera Man?
I know, and that's where you want to see Sandler, right?
Yeah,
that's where you want to see him.
It was so funny because I never once. Why I didn't. We talked about what our expectations were going to be with Sandler, and you and I had, and we talked about there'll be maybe Cajun Man, or he'll sing a song on Weekend Update, or he'll do Canteen Boy. But never once did we think of Opera Man. And then when they said, here comes, why did I not think of Opera Man? Perfect.
Yes.
And just a fantastic job of Opera Man, as always, by Adam Sandler. So overall, a great update. What did you think, Joseph?
I completely concur, man. I was so delightfully pleased by the commentary that the fellas had. Their jokes, I feel, were on point. Of course, Michael said something that elicited a lot of ooh when he made the comment about what was it, the stylist gossip in the Vatican.
Yeah,
and he made he made the joke about the altar boys or something like that. But here's the thing: I love the fact that I don't know if he attempts to do it every time, but there's at least one time, just about every segment that they do, where he gets kind of a response like that, and it's like, you did it again, and I feel like that's his.
I think it's his thing. I think he's trying to shock and awe a little bit. I'm okay with that. Awe.
Yeah. And I love Opera Man and Kate McKinnon, Elizabeth Warren. Man, I am telling you, you've said this before because she's your crush, but there's nothing this woman cannot do.
There isn't.
There really nothing she cannot do. I mean, her impressions. I would like to know how much time she puts into them. Because you look at Elizabeth Warren and you look at Kate McKinnon's Elizabeth Warren, and that is the perfect example of satirical comedy. It's on point, but at the same time, it's hyperbolic in a way that just makes you crack up.
I heard on a show a while back, somebody was talking about doing different voices and different, mannerisms and whatnot. And it might have been Martin Short for some reason. And it might have been when he was talking to Seinfeld, comedians in cars getting breakfast or coffee or whatever that is. But I think it was him and mentioned people that do that, people that do imitations of people. The first thing they do is they study them with the volume turned off because they want to get the mannerisms down.
Yes.
Then you get the mannerisms and then you work on the voice because they said the voice is actually the easier part of the two, but you got to get the mannerisms down. Then you work on the voice. So I thought that was interesting. I wonder if that's what she does or what anybody does in that case. I think it's a good question to bring up. How do you do this? Do you just, watch, how much do you watch? Do you watch a show? Do you watch a million shows? How much do you have to watch of this person to catch something that you can use?
Well, she cranks them out so fast too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I could see her totally. I mean, the gesture thing definitely makes sense. I could see her doing that because when she came out as Warren, I mean, she's doing that thing where she's waving to the crowd, pointing,
Right.
nodding,
Yes.
and it's like, God, that is so impeccable. That is so
Yes.
impeccable.
It is.
That's good. So, Kate McKinnon, we salute you for the millionth time.
Always Kate McKinnon. Opera Man. How amazing Adam Sandler was as Opera Man. So overall, I think a great update.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs way up. Let's take another break here, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what we thought were the top 3 skits of the Adam Sandler Saturday Night Live show from last Saturday night. We remind you, you're listening to and watching Saturday Night Review, because why not? We'll be right back.
You are watching and listening to Saturday Night Review on the Nipso Productions YouTube channel.
You're gonna end up eating a steady diet of government cheese and living in a van down by the river.
Hey, look! You came back, and why wouldn't you? Because this is Saturday Night Review. We are talking about Adam Sandler's show from last Saturday night, and we are talking about how well he did and how well the show did. And now comes our favorite part of the show that we need your input for. We have our top 3 skits from that show ourselves, and we're going to present those for you here in a moment, but we'd like to hear yours as well. So please contact us with what you thought were the best skits of that show. Joseph, what do you think were the top 3 skits from the Adam Sandler program Saturday night?
Here we go. Top 3.
Here we go.
Write
Hang
'em
on.
down. Grab your pens and pencils, kiddies. Here it is. Straight from the horse's mouth.
It's about to get nasty.
It's about to get very, very inappropriate. So number 3, I'm a little bit conflicted about this, but this is one. Number 3 was one that I felt I kind of had to have in there. I don't know if it was necessarily my favorite, but I put it there. It was the Sandler family reunion.
Yeah.
And the only reason I did enjoy it for the fact of, again, the homage, the tribute they were paying to Sandler. But if you remember this in 2010, they also did it with Jim Carrey, the exact same thing. And I saw it then, and I was like, it's weird seeing other people do those characters because you're just looking at the original and you're going, it just looks kind of forced on some of them, you know? I'll say this, though. Pete Davidson as Little Nicky and Melissa Villaseñor as Bobby Boucher got some pretty decent reactions.
They did. And real quick, Jimmy Fallon on his show, one time he had Sandler, and he was going to do Sandler on Saturday Night Live, and the phone rang. He picked it up, and it was Sandler's voice, and Sandler just said, "All right, let's hear it." And so he did it, and he said there's this pause, and Sandler's like, "Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. You can do it." So
I love that. So that was my number 3. My number 2 was something that honestly did make me chuckle a little bit, but I wouldn't say it was for Sandler in this case. It's similar to the last skit that I just mentioned. This one actually got a laugh out of me from Adie Bryant, and that was the Rectix commercial. And I loved her very matter-of-factly, just like talking to her kids about this pill, quote unquote pill, that's, and he said, "Is it a pill?" And I said, "Sure." And I was like, "What are you doing back there, Sheila?" So Adie Bryant, I love, and so I chose Rectix. And then I feel like you might know what I'm going to say is my number 1. My number 1 stars Kate McKinnon, and that's Last Call with Sheila Shavage.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, man. Like the reason I love these skits, Dennis, I don't know who writes them, but this is very reminiscent of like a John Mulaney type.
Yes,
this is just genius. This is the stuff that is coming out of her mouth, and the stuff that is coming out of Adam Sandler's mouth in this case is just. I just think everything that is scripted in this, I'm going, God, that's good. God, that's good. God,
I know.
I wish I could write that well.
Yes,
but again, I'll say this: that Sandler, and this one, his character was kind of hard for me to understand.
Yeah.
But You throw Kristen Wiig in there, and I'm telling you, it's probably one of the funniest ones I've seen.
Well done.
Yeah, so I went with Last Call with Sheila Savage and the
Nice.
Menage a Trois.
Well done. I'm going to tell you, you say this a lot, and I don't usually say this. I had a really hard time after the show coming up with 3 skits. In a good way, because as I watch them, I put little stars by the skits. I go, okay, that could be a top 3. Yeah. I have stars across every skit but one. Okay. And I just absolutely loved everything except for one thing on here. And we'll talk about that probably in honorable mention. But this was hard to come up with the top 3. I could have come up with top 5 easy. My number 3, I took Rectix. And I could have done this any other way. But Rectix is my number 3 for the same reason. And Beck being a fantastic straight man again.
Yes.
Hitting the glass out of his wife's hand. Don't drink that. Oh, amazing. Just amazing. My number 2, I couldn't stop laughing. And it's one of those skits that if I watch it again, I'll probably be embarrassed that I laughed as hard as I did when it happened.
Oh, I'm curious.
But Chaos in Tripoli, where the Snapchat filters kept changing. And Becca's, again, as the reporter, just fantastic. And Cecily Strong, trying to keep it straight, trying to keep everything going. And I loved the filters. I couldn't stop laughing. I felt like a little kid, but that's okay. Sometimes that's what this show's supposed to do. You're supposed to feel like a little kid. So I enjoyed the Chaos in Tripoli. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Well, before you go to your number 1, so that's actually interesting that you said that. So when you said you felt like a little kid, that was a skit that I did like it. It wasn't like one of my favorites, but you said it perfectly, because that was the first skit that they did for the night, if you remember. Yeah. And that immediately threw me back to when I was a child and watching Adam Sandler in a skit on SNL as a cast member.
And the goofiness.
And I'll say that, like, again, I was like, okay, it was kind of what I expected, but I will say that you said that perfectly. That definitely did make me feel younger. Like, I definitely got a wave of nostalgia when I saw the Chaos in Tripoli. But go ahead. Yeah,
so I give it my number 2. My number 1, I don't know how you could possibly have McKinnon and Wig in a sketch and me not make it my number 1.
I mean,
Last Call, it was amazing. And even though it was a gross kiss, those 2 pressing lips together. I'll never eat spaghetti again. Great line. Just Kenan Thompson with the garage door closing on his face. And just everything, like you said, it's just really well done. I could have arranged this anyway. I could have gone top 5 easy. There was only one sketch I did not find funny, and that was the film about Clothes Are Holes. I didn't really find that funny. And it's too bad. And I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. But everything else, you talked about the reunion. Romano Tours could have been in my top 3. If you're sad now, you're going to be sad in Italy, which is, what we as teachers, as educators, if you don't do your work now, if you're not in class now, you're not getting the work from your class because you're not in class.
Right.
Even the cold open, the Family Feud, Game of Thrones against Avengers, Leslie said, bitch, I'm Groot. I lost it every time. She said, bitch, I'm Groot, and I was on the floor.
Yeah.
Everything on this show to me got a star. But nothing more poignant, more emotional moment in Saturday Night Live than Sandler singing that song.
Yeah. How are you processing these emotions right now?
Not easy. It was extremely, extremely emotional. To me, the most emotional moment of Saturday Night Live was their first show back from September 11th. Yes. When when Paul Simon is singing The Boxer, right, and those guys are standing there, and you just get a lump in your throat. But watching Sandler struggle through a song about his friend Chris Farley, who he sang many times, and it doesn't matter. He's on Saturday Night Live singing it now. I mean, this is Yankee Stadium. This is Yep. And you could see him have to stop a couple times, and I don't think there was there wasn't a dry eye, and I guarantee you wasn't a dry eye backstage. Right. And there was not a dry eye in my house because I was the only one watching it. But it was just absolutely beautiful. I knew he had done a song. I had not watched it, mostly because I wanted to see if he was going to do it here.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought well, he might do that on the show, so I think it's better for me for the first time to see it, to see it on the show. So I kind of looked over it, and then when he killed his guitar, I knew right away. I went, "Oh, blank! He's going to do that song," and he did.
Yep.
And it was one of the most beautiful moments in Saturday Night Live history.
Totally, 100%. I completely agree with you. And the only thing I'm thinking now, here's the funny thing. He's definitely brought that back into our our consciousness again. Farley's been gone since '97, and obviously it was definitely way too soon. But when I was watching those highlights and him sing that song, I could not help, Dennis. Like, honestly, the first thing I thought was, Farley did come back and he did host before he died. He hosted one time, and I remember seeing that episode because it was 2 months later that he passed away, I think, if I remember correctly.
Right.
We could have seen so many other things. We could have seen Farley up there with Sandler.
Oh yeah.
As a guest star like Chris Rock was, and that's the thing that really touched me. Like, it's like, man, he could have been a 5-timer.
Yeah. Oh, and and we talked about touching moments. I failed to mention the moment where him and Phil Hartman, who both died way before their time together, their last show. Well, Phil Hartman's singing, goodbye, Auf Wiedersehen, good night, and he's holding Farley like a little kid, and there are real tears in their eyes. I mean, that was their last show. They were leaving.
Yeah.
And that was an emotional moment too with those two, but especially in light of what happened to both of them. I'll tell you a quick Chris Farley story from when he hosted. I saw that in college with my roommate.
Okay.
We watched the Chris Farley host, and at the end, my roommate stood up and he goes, man, that was awesome. I'm really going to miss him. I said, what do you mean? He goes, oh, look at him. He isn't going to make another 6 months. And within 2 months, he was gone. So,
yes.
I mean, it's kind of that, wow, Chris Farley's great. I'm really going to miss him because he can't do this forever. And he
was right.
He was right, yeah.
God, you told me that story, and that's so profound. And I remember being a kid watching that episode, and the only thing, now I wasn't as astute as your friend, the only thing I couldn't figure out was, I was thinking to myself, number one, he had put on so much more weight. I mean, he was so large. And the second thing was, his voice was so hoarse and so scratchy that he could almost kind of, and again, I remember thinking as a kid, it's like, wow, he has a cold. He doesn't sound very good. And I'm thinking after the fact, no, I think he'd just been damaging his body,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's sad. So Sandler, thank you for doing that.
Yes. And an amazing moment that we as fans and Saturday Night Live people worked the show, people that knew those guys, people that know those guys, they're going to talk about that for years. Him singing that song is something that's not going to be forgotten anytime soon.
Right.
It's that's the thing about Saturday Night Live. They have these amazing, funny moments, but then they can grab your heart and just tug on your heartstrings like no other show, and that was certainly one of those moments. So hats off to for a wonderful song from Adam Sandler and wonderful tribute to one of his friends, and we all miss him for sure. So we are very appreciative of that. So overall, I thought I honestly felt like this was one of the best shows of the year. Overall, I just felt like all the skits top to bottom, and that moment you throw in Opera Man, you throw in a couple of, I just think the show was incredibly strong.
Yeah, likewise. And you said it perfectly. There is something I wanted to talk about, because you and I had talked about this, and I don't know if we had talked about it on air on the last show, or if we had talked about it in private. But are you not? And I was honestly a little surprised, because the way that you predicted the Chris Farley song, I was honestly expecting, given the fact that Alec Baldwin is pretty much an honorary SNL member, I was expecting the Canteen Boy reunion, or comeback, and when it didn't happen, I was like, huh. I mean, they had the makings for that, but I also know that the first time it aired, if I remember this correctly, I remember learning as a kid that it did. I think NBC got a little bit of backlash from that.
They got a lot of backlash for it.
Now, again, that was in, I think, 93 or 92 or something like that. So,
I don't know if it's ever been shown like in syndication even again.
Right.
Yeah, I got a lot of backlash, and that's probably why, because it was a sensitive subject.
It was,
and it still is, and you know, I'm a little surprised, but I'm not, just because once I saw Opera Man, I knew that you knew they were going to do something from his past, but you don't want to make it an Adam Sandler's greatest hits either,
right?
So you got to pull like one thing from his past, I think, and they pulled the best. They pulled Opera Man. I think Opera Man would have been better than Canteen Boy anyway. But I was a little surprised they didn't do that. But then maybe Baldwin, you know, they didn't have a Trump intro either.
No, they didn't. So I mean, that's a good point. I mean, like I said, after the fact, I thought, I was like, well, maybe it was the backlash. But then I thought, well, 1993 is very, very different than 2019.
Very
so
true.
So at the same time, but you're right. You can't just make it, an Adam Sandler special. But
no.
And I love the fact that when he was ending the show, this is what I like about Sandler. Like, while he might not be my favorite SNL cast member, or the movies that he makes, they're not something that I specifically tune into personally. He is such a humble human being, and when he was on that stage, and at the end when he said, "I'm glad my kids got to see this. This was the best time of my life."
Yes,
like these were the best years of my life.
Agreed.
And you can't deny that Sandler is like a humble human being when he's sitting out, and he's complimenting the new writers, he's complimenting the new cast members.
Yes,
and you're right. It was Papa Sandler.
It was Papa Sandler. It was Papa Sandler. And it was a perfect way to end the show. Him thanking and him being his humble self. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, it's a hard show to follow, but somebody's got to do it. And after this break, we'll talk about who has to do that. That's Emma Thompson. Our expectations for her first hosting of Saturday Night Live this coming Saturday. We'll have that coming up right after this.
You are watching and listening to Saturday Night Review on the Nipso Productions YouTube channel.
Zutalos! Increíble!
All right, this is it. The final segment of episode 21 of your Saturday Night Review show, where we talk about next week's host. And wow, what a show to follow. But what a great person to follow it. Emma Thompson, who has a bit of a history of recently of being kind of a funny, goofy person in her own right. Joseph, what do you know about Emma Thompson?
This is what I do know. She's not on Game of Thrones.
She's not?
She's not.
Not a Game of Thrones person.
Yeah, and I disappointed a whole bunch of people by saying that.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of people.
We lost a lot of people. No game. Yeah, that's it. The Game of Thrones thing is why we've lost people.
Yep.
No Game of Thrones for her. However, a couple Academy Awards and 5 nominations. So, not bad on there either.
No, I feel like she's comparable. She's she's tantamount to she's the British Meryl Streep almost, I feel.
Yeah, you could say that.
And just like Streep, the range is incredible. I feel she's comedic, she's dramatic. Yes. She can make you cry. She can make you cry laughing.
I'm not going to lie, I have incredibly high expectations for this because I think she's very funny. I think she can be very funny in a very dry kind of way. So I think she's going to be perfect for this show. I think this is a perfect match. This is one of those, where has this been our whole lives?
Yes.
Where Emma, should have hosted a long time ago. And
yes.
Where has this been? So I have great expectations for her. I think she's going to be fantastic.
I agree. And I don't know why. I mean, obviously I know the British Association. I remember being so pleased and surprised when Emily Blunt hosted.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel that that's what's going to happen with Emma Thompson. So I agree with you. I think good things are going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great situation. She also has the Jonas Brothers as a musical guest, if I'm not mistaken. So you got to be excited about that.
Oh yeah, there's your viewership right there.
Yeah, there you go. So more, and but the thing is, Jonas Brothers could be in a skit or two. I mean, you don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Or make an appearance or two. So
for sure,
that would be exciting. A little extra help, always helpful for those big sketches with 15 people in them. So that may happen. So yeah, great expectations for next week. Hopefully next week we'll be able to come in and tell you what we think of Emma Thompson. But right now, Joseph, do you hear that?
This always makes me cry.
I know, but we have to, unfortunately, we have to. The band's playing us out, so we got a little time left here. But it is a lot of fun talking about this show.
It's incredible.
It is. We hope you enjoy thinking about Saturday Night Live, and just let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear your thoughts. We look forward to another wonderful episode of Saturday Night Live Review very, very soon. But until then, he's still Joseph.
And he's my friend Dennis.
And we are out of here. I did get her another gift.
What's this one?
Well, it's a she wanted a Mad Dog, and so she said, "Give me Mad Dog." So I went to the pound, and I found like a really nasty looking pit bull for her. She wanted a Mad Dog. So
that doesn't sound right. She doesn't. I mean, Linda's not the nurturing type. I mean,
she said, "Get me. If you're going to get me anything, get me Mad Dog." I said, "Okay." So I got her Mad Dog. So what I did was I went ahead and I like put it in her house with a bunch of food, and it's been there for like 3 days. So I'm sure everything's fine.
Wait. Hold on. I'm looking this up. Dennis, did you know that Mad Dog was also an alcoholic drink?
What?
Yeah.
She can't have that. She's coming out of rehab.
No. I know, and I'm starting to put oh my God. That was weed. That was weed earlier.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, my parole officer is going to kill me.
Oh, I made pizza for my mother.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
No wonder she was saying everything was groovy.